Okay, Joey, favorite moment or story of the trip?
I thought, even though Kaifu was like, I feel like a bust, it was interesting to kind of walk through that ghost town. It really was like, if there's 15 homes on the street, like 2 of them have their lights on.
For me, it was us setting up our espresso machine in Tama. It changed the vibe for us. Now that we have espresso in the morning, it just like feels like home. We've decided like not to rent it out as much, and it's really just friends and family. So if you're a podcast listener and you're coming to Tokyo and you want to be further away from central Tokyo, shoot us a message. We can figure something out. But our goal has now shifted from like just getting returns on our Airbnbs and just kind of focusing on the broader kind of AkiyaMart initiatives.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Buying a House in Japan podcast, the number 2 business podcast in Kuwait.
Thank you for our Kuwait listeners. We looked at a random stat for some reason, and yeah, Kuwait, thanks for listening to our podcast. It's been, I don't know how we're reaching over in Kuwait, but if you guys want to buy a house in Japan and Kuwait, just give us a holler.
Thanks, everyone in Kuwait. We are also the number 1 Akiya podcast in the world. My name is Joey. This is Take.
What's up?
Let's get into it. We are wrapping up our trip here. We're actually at the airport, the Kochi Airport. We're in the parking lot right now. Take is about to get on a flight to
See my suitcase over here?
Narita and then back to California.
It's really awkward right now. Like right behind the camera, there's this car that's been on for a really long time. And okay, he's pulling out. This dude has just been watching us set up. And I do admit, this is an odd place to be filming. But, the show must go on.
Show must go on.
It's been about 3 weeks. We're recording this end of October. This is our final podcast of the trip, Joey. How do you feel?
I don't know if it's a womp womp moment, but
we did it.
More like sad violin or something. Anyways, we did it. Again, all our trips, they're packed. They're action-packed. Otsukare-sama desu.
Otsukare. So I guess we'll just go with some Dear Diary series, just impressions. There's been a lot of stimulus on this trip. We've seen about 13 to 14 cities we counted down. Let's go ahead and start with your one-liner sentences of each city. Do we each do one, or we alternate?
Let's alternate. So
Okay.
we're going to go through 13 cities, and we're going to the first line that comes to the top of our head. So we went to a few different about 13 throughout our 3-week trip here, and we're just going to give you our one-line impression / opinion / first thing that comes to our head when we hear the name.
Okay, starting off, Joey. Number 1, Tama.
Tama's great.
One line.
One-liner. Energy charging, suburb of Tokyo.
Okay. Next one is Fusa. Fusa
is where the American base is, in Yokota American base in Tokyo.
Very weird vibes, but will flourish, I think. Okay, Central Tokyo, I guess, Ebisu?
Or Sangenjaya.
Sangenjaya.
Cool area, but...
Okay, let's stop the one sentence. So, how do you think about Sangenjaya?
Cool area, like very cool area, a lot of young people, but energy draining ultimately unless you get charged by being around, the big city and living in a small apartment.
Okay, next up, Ueda, up in Nagano. This spot was on the way to Iyama. I thought initially this town sucked, but after we stopped by this cool coffee spot, Ueda Coffee, shout out to them, great espresso beans. And on the drive out, I saw like a nice view of the mountains. I do think Ueda is pretty nice now. Okay, Joey, next one, Iyama.
I'm just going to clarify that I'm not the biggest fan of the snowy parts of Japan. So I'm going to say farmland snow.
Still going back to the one sentence.
Yeah, farmland snow, but probably close to good skiing.
Okay, next up, Nozawa Onsen. I thought Nozawa Onsen was really dope. Like really, really charming ski town that has not been like destroyed yet, I think. I would like to buy an Akiya in Nozawa Onsen.
Yeah, again, just to chime in on there, it was like a really cute, I thought it felt like Bavaria for anyone who's been to Germany.
Okay, Myoko.
Myoko
Kogen.
Yeah, Myoko Kogen. It's like there's not much of a town to it, is like what I want to say here. Like, kind of, again, Iyama but maybe more forest vibes than if Iyama is like farms, Myoko is more like alpine forest, not much of a town, but again, close to great skiing.
Okay, next up, Atami. We stopped by Atami for a weekend for some photos that were taken for our website. Very, very, very touristy. It was like overrun by Chinese tourists, even though the ocean was beautiful. Too many tourists. Okay, next up, Odawara.
Odawara, we dropped a friend off at the station there, and their like Odawara motto is the gateway to Hakone. And we were laughing at that. Like, the town's motto is that they're close to another better town. So
For Odawara.
and like what did we do? We tried to go somewhere for lunch there, didn't work, so we went to McDonald's instead.
McDonald's
and
so
like
bad.
it was like the worst McDonald's we'd ever seen, and we actually didn't eat there. We bailed on the McDonald's because it was so bad. And then we got like it was this place called Awesome Soba. The soba was just okay. Odawara.
I like how the guy was like, was it awesome at the end? Is what he asked.
Was it awesome?
We're like, yeah.
So my one-liner is Odawara is a good way to get to a better city.
Okay. Hakone, we stopped by Tenzan Onsen. I love Tenzan Onsen, but weirdly enough, it felt like there was a lot of Yakuza tattooed guys. It was like 70%, I felt like, were tattooed guys at Tenzan Onsen when we were there. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was like, so it's in Hakone, really famous for onsen, but it was tattoo friendly. So if you got tattoos, maybe a good place to go. But yeah, it was like definitely where the Yakuza go.
It was funny. You were like, I wonder if there was this one white dude who had like the Japanese tattoos. You're like, I wonder what the Yakuza guys think about him.
Yeah, they probably think he's a wuss or something.
Okay, jumping down to Shikoku, Kaifu.
Ghost town. End of story.
Okay, Kochi, I think surprisingly nice, bustling. Somewhere, if I were to live in Shikoku, I think Kochi could be a good option.
I think so too. Like maybe like Fukuoka level, maybe like Fukuoka's little brother.
Fukuoka's little brother. Okay, last one, To Sashimizu, Joey.
Crabs everywhere is like the first thing that comes to mind. Lots of little crabs scampering everywhere. Good if you're looking for, being tucked out of the way. Like it's like a 2.5 hour drive from Kochi, and Kochi's kind of a rural city.
Secluded.
Yeah, so secluded. Surf was good though.
Yep.
We had a good session. We only surfed once on this entire trip. I'm glad we got out there. The surf was really big, but I found a little sheltered part of the beach, which was much more my size.
Should have attacked the bombs, bro. There's some good ones.
Yeah, but good surf session, right?
Yep. So, 13 cities in 3 weeks, Joey. Congratulations, we made it through. This has been maybe our 6th or 7th trip in Japan. It seems like every time we plan a trip to Japan, like we try to leave as much open space as possible. It just gets packed with meetings. So we've made a goal that we're only doing 2 meetings per day now.
We did 3 per day on this trip.
That was like AM, afternoon, and PM.
But it was supposed to be 2 per day, and then just, a lot, life happens, business happens, and so then we tacked on a 3rd. And I think what we do next time is we leave some open days on the trip, knowing that they're going to get filled up with more business stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so thank you for everyone that reached out that wanted to meet us up. We just didn't have the time. We had to like really laser focus on a couple projects, but I'm excited. We got a shitload of content, a lot of cool projects coming out. I think in Q4, Q1 of next year, YouTube videos with comedians, YouTube videos of showing places, a lot of podcasts and interviews, and just generally like, I think this was a really productive trip.
The sprint trips, like they're packed, but a lot gets done.
Okay, let's go give some random impressions, some tips, top of mind, Joey. Just looking back on the 3 weeks, what has stood out to you?
So Aisatsu index maybe is like an idea.
King of Aisatsu.
Thrown around in my head. I was really focusing on giving chanto aisatsu on this trip. So like, you know, really just strong ohayo gozaimasu when we, you know, go for a walk or something like that. And where was the best aisatsu? Actually, Tosa Shimizu, I would say, lower on the aisatsu index. So, you know, well, maybe this is have you ever heard of the Big Mac index for inflation? So maybe this is like similar in terms of
aisatsu
gaijin friendliness. I have no idea. But yeah, Tosa Shimizu lower on the scale. Tama very high. No, actually Tama medium.
Medium, yep.
Tama medium. Where was the place that was really good again?
There are a couple, like I think Kochi. Everyone loves you there. It's like weird. They're maybe not tired of tourists.
Yeah, actually that's true. Kochi, I really kind of stood out. It reminded me of when I went to high school in Shizuoka, kind of like the foreigner in the town. You definitely stand out here more, but in a friendly way, where, you know, it wasn't like people upset that a foreigner was here in Kochi. People seemed interested. People came over at dinner yesterday, just like, hey, I really want to have a conversation with a foreigner. People were waving to me on the street.
Schoolgirls waving at Joey.
So like, yeah, Kochi, you know, much few foreigners here, but it still feels like back in 2005 when it was a rarer occurrence.
Joey is the aisatsu king, as we maybe discussed. He has been doing a really good job of speaking Japanese to Japanese locals on the street, and I think it has increased his aura in Japan. We learned that after surfing, what is the proper aisatsu when you greet someone after surfing, Joey?
Yeah, because we came up from surf. It was like 5 p.m. and I said konbanwa to someone, and she said konbanwa back. But then we got to the parking lot, and they said otsukare to us, otsukare-sama desu to us. So that is the proper post-surf greeting when you get out from surfing and you're seeing people in the parking lot putting their boards away. It's the otsukare-sama desu is what you say. And it reminds me of bukatsu, like that's what you say at the end of bukatsu, like the club activity you do in school here. It's when you go to club, actually, and I wonder if surfing is the same. So it's after school. It's like 3-4 p.m. And then you go to club. I was in the brass band. It's ohayo gozaimasu. You say ohayo when you get there, and then when you leave, it's otsukare-sama desu.
Okay, segueing to my thoughts on surf. We, again, came here with intent. We brought 2 surfboards from California, brought the whole setup. We only surfed, unfortunately, once. We tried maybe 4 times, I'd say. General feeling is like the surf is unpredictable here. I think whether it be the wind, where we were looking at, whether it be rain, whether it be the typhoons, we just didn't time it right enough. So I don't know. I came here really trying to assess, like, can we get a surf house? And honestly, living in Santa Cruz and going to Hawaii a lot, it's just probably better for me to focus on surfing in California and Hawaii. That being said,
you're spoiled for good surf.
Yeah,
I will say.
I would not come here for surfing. I can definitely stand corrected. I only surfed again once this trip, but we really thought, like, should we buy a surf house? And that was kind of one of the points of coming down here to Shikoku. I am out on a surf Akiya. Given the remoteness, the amount of work of the ones we saw, and some of the price points, and just the surrounding town, I felt like
even the crowds were like larger crowds.
There were larger crowds. Yeah, larger crowds than we expected. But really, like, even if there was great surf, but the town next to it was just kind of a ghost town, it just doesn't sit right with me, or it doesn't feel like I want to spend a lot of time there.
If surfing, for someone that doesn't have 24/7 access to great waves, I will say, if surfing is the main priority, like, Japan's not the spot. And especially if you live in America, say, and you're flying to Asia for surf, like, there's like, you might as well just go to Indonesia or somewhere with consistent, better waves. Japan's just not that spot. Japan would work if you want to be there for a different reason as the main. Like, let's say you really like Tosa Shimizu, down in Kochi, and you want to be kind of more isolated, and you like that rural living vibe, and you also surf. Like, that's when I think it would make sense.
Yeah, the surf we did catch, though, in Okinohama was really good. But then we checked it the day after. It was just completely blown out. And it's just like, I feel like it just is not consistent enough for you to focus on surfing. But the big thing that was really eye-opening also was the Akias we looked at all needed a ton of work.
Yeah.
And just like, it's hot, humid. Even in October, we're like, this is a lot of...
But again, sorry, to put it in perspective, like, as someone who had to surf Rockaway for years, it's better than Rockaway. Like, it is better than Rockaway.
Not better than Pleasure Point, then, Santa Cruz.
Yeah, so, like, if you're from the East Coast, I do think it's going to be better. if you're from the West Coast, it's not going to be better.
True. We met this dude from Amsterdam who was just like frothing for waves, and he was just like, I remember like you saw him just looking at the waves. You're like, oh man, poor lad. He really wants to surf. So shout out to what was his name, Justin from Amsterdam. Maybe if you're listening, I hope you scored some waves. Okay, so we stayed in a couple unique spots, but another common trend I think is the tiny home kind of accommodation versus buying an Akiya and renovating it. Thoughts, Joey, on the tiny homes this trip?
Yeah, well, I think like maybe me and you have one more Akiya in us, like a real crappy situation and then putting in money and effort into renovation and making it something nice. We did that with our first property in Beppu, and maybe but then I feel like we've gotten a little bit soft because our Tama city property was like so comfortable from the get-go. But maybe we have one more in us. We've talked like, okay, a concrete building would be really good. But I think sort of that's the underlying context here. We're looking at these wooden Akiyas and these, kind of different locations. We're like, is this a project we really have the headspace to want to take on? And at the same time, we've been exploring these prefabricated tiny homes. So we checked out one in Iyama, run by our friend Mitch at Ikigaiko, and we stayed at some other tiny homes in Tosa Shimizu at the Snow Peak campground, Jubakos they called them. They're very nice, AC rips in them. The Jubakos at the Snow Peak were more just a bedroom and like a little living room, whereas the ones Mitch is making up in Iyama are more it's got the kitchen, the bathroom, the shower all in it. Those seem, again, I think we really liked how the Tama house worked out and kind of how effortless it is. And these are definitely spend more money for faster place to live, like more modern and newer interior insulation and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's the direction we're looking at maybe for a next property.
Don't get us wrong. I don't want to discourage folks who have not bought an Akiya. We bought 6 freaking Akiyas at this point. So I think we're just a little bit tired of like the standard 1980s wooden structure that we want to try something different. And I think with all these properties, it's tough to maintain them. I think the big theme here is nature takes over. If you really aren't constantly checking in on a property, it's tough. So with that, the tiny home situation, I think is nice in that it's lower maintenance, it's off the ground, it's new, it costs a lot more money, but putting a tiny home next to one of these surf breaks or buying the land and then putting the tiny home, I think is my ideal option.
Pretty fun idea.
Yeah. And I live in a mobile home in Santa Cruz. So I actually really do like that kind of like small modular type home. I think it's just less maintenance. It's new. Like worse, you can literally roll it on versus having to have someone build it there.
Yeah, an easier mode button. Potentially spend more money, but an easier mode button to getting a place to stay in Japan. And I just want to echo what Taki said as well. I don't want to discourage anyone from buying that wooden house Akiya as your first one. It was a lot of fun.
Totally.
The Beppu house, and in fact, the house we toured in Tosa Shimizu was a little bit further gone than our Beppu house, but we're looking at it and we're like, this would be a lot of fun. If this was our very first entry point into Japan, like that adventure, that kind of sweat equity that you got to put in to your first Akiya, like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. But I think we are particularly interested at land now. So maybe we start pulling land at some point. We are going to be hopefully working with this guy, Mitch, up in Iyama to do these tiny homes, and stay tuned. I think this might be a better alternative than restoring a really effed up Akiya. And we're also trying to figure out the demolishing. Demolishing seems to be the hard part too.
And like one more thing, it depends on your risk appetite, but the one more thing about the tiny homes is that they're technically classified. The way everyone's building them in Japan is they're classified as a vehicle. So you can park these in places where you cannot build a home due to, landslide restrictions, tsunami danger restrictions. So if you have that type of risk appetite, you can probably get a really scenic property or something like right on the beach, etc., and park one of these tiny homes there.
Yeah. I think I'm very interested in the land game, and I think many Americans are too, in that like you could buy a plot of land and just develop it later.
Yep.
And just kind of, I don't know how we go about this, but next frontier, baby. Okay, another topic. You take them. What's the next top of mind for you, Joey?
I got bears again. I don't know.
Okay, hit the bears.
I mean, we've mentioned this before, I think, on some
Last podcast.
Yeah, on the last podcast. More and more bear attacks. I think there was one, a Kiwi, someone from New Zealand got his arm ripped off by a bear.
Arm broke, snapped is what the...
Arm snapped by a bear. And so, I think the last podcast we were like, oh, Japan is blowing this out of proportion, which they might be doing. I do think NHK is run pretty, I think since Shinzo Abe, the NHK has been controlled by the LDP, in effect, controlled by the LDP. So it is kind of a government channel here, and they may be using the bear situation to, we were in the sauna the other day, and, again, it's bear content on the...
Every day we're in the sauna, it's bear content.
Every day, bear, and then the real estate agents we're talking to are talking about bears. Everyone's talking about bears in Japan right now. Is this a distraction from bigger issues that Japan is facing?
I think absolutely. It's so strange that literally every time we've seen the TV, there has been either Shohei Ohtani, great game by the way, Shohei against the Brewers, but that or bears, and it's not maybe Takaichi's also in there, new potential prime minister, but it's weird that the news just circulates on these magnet topics. It almost seems like it's a distraction to what's really happening in the world.
I feel like it's not the first time I do agree that the Japan media, there's a narrative, and then everyone jumps on that narrative bandwagon until whatever the next story is, and they just keep showing this bear content or whatever the next storyline is.
The last time we were here, it's really about the rice shortage. I remember just seeing it over and over, rice shortage. And it's interesting that these are the hot topics, and global media also does the same thing, I'm sure. But very interesting that such a hyper fixation on bear attacks. So
I did look up some stats, and I think
hit 'em.
There were 7 fatal bear attacks in Japan in 2025, and in America there were 3. So more than double, and I think America probably has way more people than Japan does. So I don't know the exact ratio, but so more bear attacks, yes, than normal, and in absolute terms more than America, and probably as a percent of the population more. Yeah. So yes, it is an increase. The article I saw today, CBS, an American news channel, said that they were blaming it on climate change. There's less acorns for some reason for bears, and their hibernation schedule is getting a little bit wonky because of the hotter temperatures. So maybe that's why.
Okay, another impression, maybe travel pro tip. 2 actually tips here. 1, we traveled with our own pillow this trip, and it made such a difference. I don't know what it is with these. I mean, it's generally travel.
You can't trust the pillows here at hotels, but I think that's true in America as well.
Yeah, so we traveled with our own pillows, and we stayed in different hotels almost every day, and it made such a better difference. Second, if you are traveling through Japan, take a look at Dormy Inn. I think Dormy Inn is the best budget option to stay in Japan. It's going to be my first search. Any city we need to find accommodation, right?
It's almost as ubiquitous as the APA hotels, but better. I feel like APA is the student hotel, I want to say, or I don't know what to call it, but this is nicer than the APA hotels, and the onsen inside is way nicer as well.
Yep. Stayed at the Dormy Inn. We've stayed in Dormy a lot of cities, but I'm staying in Ueda right when I fly. We just got out of the Kochi one. Unfortunately, there isn't one in Tokushima for Joey today.
We always, if we're going to a new city, we always check first if there's a Dormy Inn there.
Dormy Inn. It's great sauna, great onsen, very simple accommodations, nothing, no frills. But, okay, Joey, favorite moment or story of the trip? It's a tough one.
Is it the moment? I thought even though Kaifu was I feel like a bust, it was interesting to kind of walk through that ghost town. It really was if there's 15 homes on the street, 2 of them have their lights on.
For me, it was us setting up our espresso machine in Tama.
Oh, yeah.
It really
so long ago.
Yeah, it changed the vibe for us. So now that we have espresso in the morning, it just feels like home. It feels like we really put the finishing touches on Tama Base Camp. We will get some more photos, hopefully videos, and we've decided like not to rent it out as much, and it's really just friends and family. So if you're a podcast listener and you're coming to Tokyo and you want to be further away from central Tokyo, shoot us a message. We can figure something out. But our goal has now shifted from like just getting returns on our Airbnbs and just kind of focusing on the broader kind of AkiyaMart initiatives.
Trivia. We learned that there's actually 2 Last Samurais.
No, it's not the last. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
There's Saigo Takamori, which we explored when we went to Kagoshima just by accident. We learned Saigo Takamori is the last samurai. That's who we named our Japanese business after. And then Ryoma Sakamoto.
Sakamoto, yeah.
Ryoma Sakamoto, who is the last samurai here of Kochi. He's not technically the last samurai, as
Visionary.
Take said. Yeah, it was like he was the visionary behind the attack on the Tokugawa shogunate at that time. And what's his name? Saigo Takamori was the brawn. The brains and the brawn.
Kochi Ryoma Airport is right behind us. But it's interesting that each region fixates on their like hero that originated from.
He's everywhere here. Like he's everywhere here.
Yep. Okay, Joey. Really good trip. Really productive. A little bit tiring, but we did it. When is our next trip? What are we doing on our, or when do you think we're going to come back next?
We're going snowy, I feel like, for the first time ever next trip.
We just said that?
We're going Otaru. We have a property we're working up there with one of our AkiyaMart Direct exclusive agents, Ryo Takemoto. We bought a place with him up in Otaru, and we're about to start renovating it. So we've done some kind of light yard work, but we're going to put a little bit of effort into the renovation. Go check it out in February, film some content, and hopefully put it on the market soon. So if you are interested in an Otaru property, stay tuned.
After that, we're thinking about going back to Yakushima, so the other side of Japan. We might gather a couple of our troops there and do kind of an off-site. I think that'll be fun. We had a really good time last time and want to show off Yakushima down in southern Japan. And then what else?
The Shining Hotel. We're staying at the Shining Hotel.
We're coming back. And we might throw a party again. I don't know. I think we're overdue for another party. So stay tuned. For everyone that did reach out to us, just sorry, we probably could not have met this time. Our next trip is February, so keep that in mind. Maybe we'll be coming back here sooner for some other reasons, but for now, actually, we might be coming back for Tama Coin Laundry.
To Kochi?
No, to Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
Should we come back sooner?
Yeah, we may. Again, we're still, at the moment of recording, we are in the process of purchasing. We don't have keys in hand. I think we're applying for the lease to rent the space right now from the landlord. I think timeline-wise, we should expect
December 1st.
Keys in hand December 1st. So, yeah, maybe come back, cut the ribbon, Grand opening.
We're thinking on a couple cool names. I think the current one is OK Laundry.
OK Laundry.
Not the best laundry, just OK.
And we're going to throw an OK party.
And we're going to sell OK detergent and have an OK time.
Yep.
So, thanks for listening. This is our last video podcast of this fall trip. Joey, otsukare. It's been a memorable one, to say the least.
Otsukare, and everybody hit the like button, please. We are very close to 100 likes on Spotify, so hit that. And you can also reach out to us at any time at podcast@akia-mart.com. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Buying a House in Japan. If you find the show helpful or at least entertaining, give us a 5-star rating. Takes 5 seconds and really goes a long way.
If you or someone you know is looking for a Japanese home, check out AkiyaMart.com, our English-friendly site that lets you browse over 500,000 listings. That's AkiyaMart.com to find your dream home in Japan.
If you've got questions or feedback, drop us a line. Email contact@AkiyaMart.com. You can also find us on Instagram as well as TikTok, where we post properties, tips on the home buying process, and updates on our own purchases and renovations.
Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.